Last episode was the big picture: what Onshape is, why it exists, and where it's used. This is your complete navigation guide: how to set up a document the right way and all the parts of the interface you'll be living in for the rest of this series. Let's get started. So when you first open Onshape, you're greeted by the home page. You can see the Getting Started with Onshape, a couple resources they give you, your last open documents, your folders, which help you stay organized, and then all of your documents. There's a create button where you create those documents, folders, and publications. You can also import other files and classes and create labels. Here, similarly to that Getting Started with Onshape, is a Explore Onshape. They give you a few things that help you learn and any classes you have. You recently opened documents, documents you created, anything anyone shared with you. And these are defaulted to being sorted by when they were last modified. You can also sort by name, and then teams, like a robotics team or a company, and then labels. These make it really easy to quickly reference any specific documents you know you'll be referencing a lot. And then public is where you can search any document anyone's ever made. Then trash is your recently deleted documents. So we'll go to create, make a new document, call this navigation tutorial. So I've already prepared a couple things we're going to reference, but you don't need to worry about those. We're going to start with this 3-line menu right here. Rename document. You can also double click to rename it. You can move it to any of your folders. And document details opens a description of your document. It's especially good if it's a public document. You're going to store old workspaces, anything you've deleted. That's like the tabs. You can copy the workspace and like duplicate it. And you can do that to a specific like location. You can update it to the latest version of Onshape if it's not automatically updating. Your workspace units you can change from metric to imperial or any unit you want to be the default unit. You can go to workspace properties, which is kind of redundant because you can edit the name and description elsewhere. And then you can print the document. This lets you like render a full resolution window of your document to print it. And then you can close document, which returns you to home, but you can also do that by just clicking on the Onshape logo. So now we have this menu over here on the side. The first option is versions and history. This just shows every version you've marked, any alternate workspaces or branches. And you can just go through this timeline, just like a Google Doc revision history, but you can mark the milestones. So this is like version 1, version 2, I had this extrude, and I branched it into another workspace here. It's extruded the other way, and I added this, but none of these changes are affecting this main. I basically created like a parallel workspace that's in the same document, but changing one thing doesn't affect the other, which allows you to try a lot of things, and then later you can merge them by doing that. This is where you create versions. So if I like where this is at, this is a milestone that's important to me, I can create it. And that's especially helpful because these lists get very long very quickly. It's really convenient to be able to go to a specific point in time. There's comments, so you can see here, this is a comment that references this highlighted circle, and it's just this big circle, and then anyone can reply, wow, that's a nice circle, I agree. Now that's replied, and this is great for collaborating with people. There's document notes. I put my blood, sweat, and tears into making that cylinder, just something that anyone can reference. We can go ahead and edit this. There's a performance, which just shows how your computer's doing and whether it can fully do Onshape. There's this AI advisor they added, which will help you work through any problems you have. And then action items. So this one is add a hole. So we can just like add a hole really quick. and extrude said hole, remove, and now I can mark that as done. You can assign action items right here. Do something, and you can assign that to a specific person on your team or yourself to do in the future. Save and assign, and that's that menu. Here's a search bar, which helps you search through all your tabs. That's these on the bottom. There's a few different types of tabs. So right here you can see there's applications. These open up different types of windows. So for example, this intact.design is like a rendering system. And then there's material libraries where you can like create custom materials yourself. And these are all going to pop up over here and also at the bottom here. In addition to Part Studio and Assembly, which you've already been introduced to, there's variable studios where you can create variables to reference. There's drawings where you can see 2D representations of your objects like that. And then there's folders, which help you stay organized, so I can put things in my folder. And then there's the import button, which lets you import any images or documents you want to reference later. So back in our Part Studio now, this is truly a lot, so you might have to rewatch some of it. We have the cylinder, and over here in the corner, you can see show measurement details. You can click any edge or surface and it'll tell you about it. So I can see that's that diameter, or I can click this surface and I can see the area. I can go over here to mass and selection properties, and it's going to pull up the details of this whole part. It'll tell me the entire volume and the entire surface area. It'll also give me center of mass and just the mass of it if it's assigned a material. And also the analysis tool, which lets you in more depth see an object. We're gonna turn that off. Over here on the side, there's a few more panels. This is the appearance panel. I can click this, add appearance to a face, change the color, and those are all going to be over here, and this makes it a lot easier to change anything. Configuration panel. So if you want to create presets of your dimensions and features, you can do that there. And then custom tables, and then there's the inspection table. This helps you like mark stuff. So now this is highlighted like that when my inspection table is open. And then there's the variable table. This lets me create any variables I want to be referenced throughout the document or this Part Studio. And then any apps you add, for example, this FRC design driver. This is just a library I can pull from. So we'll finish real quick with basic navigation. So you can left click to select anything. If you click Control while left clicking, you can actually deselect with a window, and depending on the direction, it goes from everything you touch to everything you completely cover, whether you're going right to left. If you hold right click, you pan, just like if you select different faces up here, or if you right click and drag the view cube around. If you hold Control and right click, you can like strafe around your document. Over here beneath the view cube is camera and render options. These let you pick different rendering modes. For example, perspective view. This puts you in a 3D viewing, and you can go like inside of objects and see them like you would in real life compared to seeing them from infinitely far away. There's also how it's rendered, so I can go shaded without edges, and now it looks a lot softer. This is nice for taking screenshots sometimes. And then unshaded and translucent. And then there's like edges visible, or like tangent edges. So right here, these two flow perfectly together, so I can remove those. And now that just looks like a clean surface. even though it technically goes from like a normal plane to a cone right there. And then you can view it in higher quality, which will be a little more computationally demanding. And if you have boundary edges, you can highlight them. Another tool is a section view. So by clicking any plane, you can then section it. And this is really good for seeing the inside of anything. And that's it. So that's the interface: document setup, tabs, navigation, and how Onshape handles collaboration and history. Next episode, we're going to build a hinged box, which is going to be your first real assembly. So stay tuned.